Well, hello folks, welcome back to the channel, and today Mr. Huxley is going to plant, well, he's going to show you how to plant potatoes in a sack. And then later he's going to plant some in a box, and oh, he's all stirred up. He's had company over. He likes this, he can chew on my gloves, but anyhow, we're going to put him down here and let him run around, and hopefully don't take off barking anybody, but you never know about Mr. Huxley. So anyhow, Sissy, can you come in on this bag? And we've got some coconut coir down in here. And we're going to plant these potatoes in. Now this is a regular chicken feed bag. So if you can get with some of your local rancher, homesteaders, whoever, and you say, well, I can't grow potatoes because I don't have no ground to grow them in. Well, don't worry about it. Put them in a box, put them in this bag. So here we've got this Basket and Bushel brand potatoes. I don't even remember where we got these at. But at any rate, they've sprouted. Okay? So I've cut these. I've got 4 that I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to put them down this bag. So you can kind of see how we're going to set them in there. Now 4 might be too many, somebody would say. And you're probably right, but what we're trying to achieve here is to get all the production we can out of this one little container bag. So now I've got some rabbit pellet. You can see in there, that's for my rabbits. And I've also got some really nice leaf mold and compost out of our compost pile. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So first off, I'm going to put a little more of this coconut coir in here on top of them. Don't take a lot, just enough to kind of cover them good. And as you water these, or as it rains, if you've got them outside or wherever, it's going to take these nutrients down into the soil. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting a lot of nutrient in there right away. You can always add a little more later, but what we're going to do, we're going to tier these. So as these grow, we got noise, we got traffic. So as these grow, we're going to continue to fill as they grow up the bag. Now I've folded it over, so we got quite a bit more to go. The reason I folded it over so we could see down in this bag better. So now I'm going to put a scoop of leaf mold in here. You can do it however you want. And you can put chicken poo in there or whatever. So now here goes some of this rabbit. I just might well put that whole can in there. So let's get rid of that. That thing's got a little aroma to it. That rabbit's working good. So let's put a little more fertilizer on top of that. I say fertilizer, compost. And so now, let's go in here and put some more of this cocoa fiber. And this should at this point give us about a half a bag. So what these will do, let me kind of pack that down a little bit like that. Don't hesitate going there and pack it down. I've seen guys do this. I've seen other growers do this, and I've wanted to try it. And so instead of throwing these bags away and you think, well, now wait a minute. How you drain that? Do they need air? Well, they get the air from the top. So look down here at the bottom. Here's where they sew the bag together. It's going to drain right out down here at the bottom on these, this where they sew it. They got a machine that sews that bag. And so when this thing's out here, whether you grow them in this greenhouse or out in your garden, or you set them out beside the house, however you want to do it, if you put it where it gets sun at least half the day, it's going to heat the soil. And potatoes will put runners all in this bag, and I'm not going to guarantee we're going to make a crop of potatoes, but we're ahead of the game, so to speak. So don't throw those away. Now Sissy's going to come in here, and we got a double show for you today, by the way. We got a double video that we're going to try to do in one. So here's potatoes that Sissy and I put these in there. We put the little cut the little sprout off from them. We set those in there, and this was back in what? Last month, February. So we put these in, I don't remember what week we put them in February. But they're sprouting now. And so since they come right here, these are January potatoes, if you remember. Look at the growth. I mean, they're just exploded. I've only fertilized them once in the tub when I planted them, and once more with liquid fertilizer, the Agro Thrive. And look at the growth, they're getting so top heavy, they're just kind of leaning over. So, right here are some of those sprouted ones off of the peelings that we put those in here recently. And look how big this one, we put this one in the same time that's had more sunlight, and look how much bigger it is. And that's just what you can do with potatoes, guys. There's no one way to do it. And since it's got her snow peas, this tub didn't come all the way up. We don't know why. These did perfect. I don't like that word. There's no such thing in my opinion. But anyhow, this is all celery. Now, we didn't plant this from seed. We got it in 6-packs, and there was 2 and 3 to a cell, wasn't it, honey?
Yes.
So we decided, well, for the price, we're getting triple our plants off the same amount of money, so let's just go ahead and get them. So now we've got, you can see down here, Sissy's doing lettuce. She's coming back with cauliflower and broccoli. And some of these didn't all come out.
We will replant.
Oh yeah, well, we're a little late for that, but some of them, see, I double and triple, see, the seed. We can split them out and put them back. But this is all tomato and pepper and eggplant here. So our cousin Everett and Myra, they sent us a bunch of seed. I got them here in my pocket. And we've got all these. That jet setter, I'm eager to see how this does. That's a garden paste tomato. That's for your sauce. A candy cane chocolate cherry pepper. Purple Russian tomato. I love any dark tomato. Those are good. Early Boy Plus, that just means it has more disease resistance. And which that Early Boy and all those boy type tomatoes, usually pretty good tomato. And the old standby, the old Brandywine, that thing's been around for, shoot, ever since people came from Europe, I suppose, over here. And so it's an old variety. We've grown it before. It doesn't make tons of tomatoes unless it's on a really good year that doesn't have a lot of weather issues and too much heat and too much rain and all that. But overall, it's a pretty good tomato. So, with that said, we've got more tomatoes to plant. We've got customers that they understand now that we do tomato plants, and so they've ordered seed, and or we've ordered seed. So future videos you'll see all these plants we'll have, but people are starting to understand that they're getting these tomato plants from some of these box stores. Now, I'm not saying they're bad, okay? And don't read too much into that. But some of them aren't hybrids. Some of them are really old heirloom varieties. Can you make tomatoes with them? Yes. Problem is when you get into mid to late summer, they burn up. And disease gets them. And if you can pull it off, hey, I'm not going to try to discourage you from doing that, but we'll see. We're going to pause just a minute. Okay, we're back. We had to get Mr. Huxley had one of our plant pots, and he was chewing the plastic up and eating it. That's not good. Because we might have to have a vet trip for that, but at any rate. So, the second half of the video, Sissy can pan over here on these vertebrae. These are buffalo vertebrae. You can see the two nerves that go through the backbone there. And here, of course, this is your central. These are the nerves. One goes to one hip, one goes to the other hip. Now you can see right here, this is what you get naturally. You get some cracking, and we've got some tips of it that's broken off. This is from tumbling and alluvial river sands and rock, and the current takes it and what have you.
Well, he didn't tell you. We actually found these on the river.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, but that's a good point. And not only that, we found them, what, less than 10 feet apart?
Yes.
They were right there. We did find a rib bone, but it wasn't, I couldn't salvage it. It was already broken. It was splitting, and I'm going to get one, but going back to that artifact ID where I talked about the scraper, how they mound them in the rib bone and stuff. We'll make one, and we'll show you what that looks like. We'll set one up. If you notice, see how straight this vertebrae right here, this is the back. This comes up to the back. And this down here obviously is bottom. Look how this one's bent over a little bit. I just noticed that. I think that sucker might have received an injury, or when he died and the bone was still green, it covered it up and it kind of bent it over and it dried like that. I mean, you can speculate on what happened, but at any rate, we're going to show you how to preserve these. This is the simplest way I know. There's probably more than one method. I haven't researched it. All I do know is we did this for years, even on skulls, bison skulls. Any bone, to my knowledge, and you can comment on this, guys, if you want. That doesn't bother me. If you got other ideas, I want to hear them. But here's what's true. These are semi-fossilized, but as you can see, there's porosity in it. There's cracks in it. The bone's really dry. That's what you're going to do when you bring it in. You want to really dry it. So what we're going to do now, see right here, we got Mr. Spider. So get you a pipe cleaner. I could have done this by hand. I mean, don't worry about getting it super clean because you're really never going to get it there. So, camera will pick it up. I'm going to go in here and make sure there's no, see if I can see a little spider web in there. Just cleaned up, you know, fairly good. Now see how that right there is chipping? If that'll stay on there till I get it coated, we're gonna get some pretty good adhesion with this glue. Now see where this is dirty in here? That's got a pebble hung up. All this does. If you can't get it out, don't force it. Now there it went, see? You can see so you can get a shot of that. See, it went through. We got a little bit of, now let's see if we can, again, if you can't get it all out and you got to force it, you may not want to do that. I'm going to tap it. Well, it's jammed in there. Wow. We'll probably just leave that one. See right here, it's got a rock. Let me get my pocket knife. Maybe I can get that sucker out of there with a little small. If I can get that one out, I think I can get the rest of it to broke sandstone.
Honey, turn over here in the light so they can actually see what you're doing.
It's coming out. It's going to take a minute. I should have pre-done this, but at least now they can understand kind of what you get up against on some of this. And I'm going to try to get under it and get it out. And I don't want to chip any bones, so I got to be careful. See, some of it chipped right there. Nothing to be alarmed of. You're going to get a little of that. There it went. Wow, we got that sucker out of there. I was beginning to wonder. But see, we got a little chip here. It's nothing major. This is already damaged to a point, but I wouldn't want to break it. Right there, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's went through into the core of the bone. Yeah. Okay. Alright, well, enough of that. So now you kind of see what you want to do with that. So I would get a small brush. And this is one of those little acid brushes. These are those little craft ones. You can get them for pretty cheap. So what we're doing here, you're using Elmer's glue. Just the old school glue. So I've got 2 3-ounce cups. For these particular vertebrae, you don't need a ton of mix to do this. So what you do on the first 2 coats is you mix this 50-50. So I've already got my water in. If I get my jacket and getting in my video here, the wind's blowing, you can probably hear it. So we're going to fill this on up. I'm probably going to have too much, but that's okay. I don't remember what we paid for this. Used to, you get it for 50 cents or less a bottle, seemed like. And let's mix this up. So I've got this other water here to put my brush in and wash the brush out. I'll use that brush for a lot of other stuff. Yeah, that's why I'm letting it go to the ground. So kind of mix this up till it gets pretty milky. What you're after right here with the 50-50 mix is to penetrate all these pores and seal them. And this initial coat you put on this first one is pretty critical, actually. It needs to go in and soak in. You don't want to put it on just slop, slop, slop. You want to put it on and kind of take a look and see, well, is it penetrating? If it bubbles a little bit, don't worry about it, guys. That's what you want. Because when you put your next two coats on, see, that's pretty thick on that stick. It's not terribly thick, but that's what you want. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. So I'm going to take this big brush first. Let me get a rubber glove on the one I'm going to handle this with. My right hand I'm not too worried about, so. But I've got wax paper down here too, by the way, to keep them sticking on there, because I'm not going to hang these. So what I'm going to initially do, I better move that back. I'm going to go down these holes first. I think that'd be a wise thing to do. Kind of tap it real light. Just kind of let that go down in there. You can see bubbles forming in it right now. It's trying to go down. So I'm going to get some inside this cavity too. The outside's not the problem. The outside's easy. See right there? So we're just going to... If I have to, I'll take that pipe cleaner and go down those holes and kind of coat them. Again, initially, you're not after coating one coat. You're never going to get this done in one coat. But the reason why we're coating these, one reason, Donnie Replogel's got that little museum up there in northeast Oklahoma, and they're reconstructing some bison skeletons. Some that have partial, some that have complete. But you don't want to let a good fossil go to waste. If you can display it, Donnie's real good about taking some of this and going to the schools and teaching the children firsthand. It's not in textbooks, not on computer. It's hands-on. And if we don't help our young people preserve this stuff, now I'm going to go in here, then are we really doing any good, people? We have to teach our other generation what this is all about and help, and maybe they'll go look and they'll collect and they'll be inspired to do this. See, that's why I got that glove on. Well, that's one reason. So it's getting in there pretty good, guys. So I wouldn't worry about, see right there, just leave your brush on some of these porous areas, and I'm not going to do both of these obviously right now. We're just trying to give you a heads up on how to preserve this. So it's looking pretty good, and it's going to look milky, but when it dries, it's going to dry pretty clear, and that's what you're after. So
I have a question, Leland. How many times would you do that? I mean, how many times would you coat that?
That's a good question. 2 coats of 50-50, and the third coat's full strength, and that really tightens everything up and finishes the process of preserving it. And again, guys, if you've got somebody out there that preserves skeletal and everything, and they've got a different method, I'm all ears. I'm not saying ours is the best way to do it. Never gonna hear me say that. And so here I'm going to put some more on the back side of these holes. I see a little bit of voids in there, so we're going to put that in there. And this greenhouse out here, as warm as it is, it should. So that should, I'm going to set that over there out of the way. I'll do this one after we get done with the video. And I hope you found this interesting and informative, and it's something that not everyone is accustomed to doing. If you want to learn more about bone and skeletal, how the skeletal on fish, mammals, birds, all that, go to the Oklahoma Osteology website. And it's in Oklahoma City. They've got a museum out there where they curate, and they do green bone. I don't know if they do fossilized. If I said that, I'd probably be lying to you, but they have an extensive collection of skeletons, all the way from elephants all the way down to, I guess some of it's invertebrate. I don't know. If it has a shell on it, they may preserve it, but it's well worth your time to look at that if you're interested in it. And so I hope you got some new information on growing potatoes, and we've got, hopefully we'll find a bison skull. And I think, as close as these two were, I think upstream of that, I think the skull's up there. If we don't find it, I hope someone does. And I hope if they find it, it's intact for the most part. Usually the nose always broke off from them, but I always love finding a big buffalo skull. And we find one, and you'll see us do the whole thing. We'll do a video on that. And check back later, and we'll have a follow-up on how these turned out. So hit the thumbs up, the like. That helps our video stream go out there and get in the loop. And subscribe if you find this interesting and useful. Go ahead, and we'll make you another video.